Oh my goodness, so fun. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Happy December. I can't believe it's December. It's officially December, and this is our first show in December. Such a treat to be here with you. Thanks so much for joining us. You've definitely come to the right place. We're going to talk about the what? The end of the internet. I'm going to let Greg jump in for that for sure because there's so much that he's got to talk about this. But let's just say that we've got timely financial and tech news to power up your day today. So welcome to The Loop with Winnie and Greg. I'm Winnie's son, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and host of Level Up, which is our other show. But of course, welcome here. We are live. Happy Thursday. And of course, I'm so excited to be here with you, Greg. How are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great, actually. Yeah, really good Thanksgiving, and it's really nice to be here, too. I want to acknowledge that intro really quick, though. That was amazing. I'm pretty sure that's Curtis's work behind the scenes. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about today and some pretty interesting things that were trending. So I am Greg Nibbler, in case anybody doesn't know, technology reporter for a long time for a number of outlets, worked in a lot of different fields, but really excited to be here today to talk about something that's trending and give a little bit of a backstory. So I'll just say this. There were some rumors that the internet may end today. So this is what's going on. Actually, it started in Seattle, some signs popping up, and we're going to talk about that. And so if this broadcast does go down, probably it's because the internet did end. You know, it could happen at any point, according to these signs. But if it doesn't, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the internet. And I've got some other things at the end where technically, some of you out there could make $200,000 if you're willing to do something, and it involves a robot and some strange things. We're going to talk about that at the end, but a lot to get to. And I know Winnie, though, always starts us off with what's going on in the world of finance and how that's all going. It's always interesting to me because I'm always curious. Like, I see things going up and down, but I don't really know what it means, and you make it so much clearer.
Greg, you just made me very nervous. First, you said the internet might go down, and then my eyes popped up when you said you're going to tell us how we could make 200,000 big ones.
Yeah.
And like robots, this is going to be the show of shows. Thank you so much. And by the way, we got to say a big hello to Vicky Garvey on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello.
And Joshua, CrossX Fighter, if you're joining us from YouTube Live, I want to say a big hello and happy birthday to you, buddy. I know your birthday was last month. Thank you so much for letting us know. And I know Greg and I wanted to celebrate with you, but you know, we took the day off because of Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. But happy birthday, buddy. How are you? And thank you so much for being here. All right, so Greg, I'm here for you. I'm going to talk about the market because I think we really needed to do this because as of last Friday, we heard the news of the new variant, the Omicron, and so everybody's been concerned. The market dropped dramatically on Friday. Came back a little bit smidge on Monday, went down again over 600 points on Tuesday. And well, here's some good news because today a lot of that came back. In fact, it was a triple update. The Dow closed up 617 points today. NASDAQ closed up 127 big ones. And the S&P also up 64 points today. So overall, looks like people are keeping optimistic, still watching and looking for opportunities. Overall, the job market looks okay too in terms of unemployment numbers from last week. Actually, it was a little bit better than expected. So overall, pretty good. But you know what, Greg? I feel like we should really talk about the news that we were sort of talking about behind the scenes. So we got to talk about that with our friends here in the show because when you shared this, I was a little nervous. I was like, is this real or is this something that, just, I don't know. I mean, it was a little spooky.
It is strange. So this is in reference to something, and I retweeted this yesterday because I discovered it, but it's something that's happening around Seattle where there's signs popping up, and there are all kinds of different signs, but they all say the internet ends on 1-2-0-2-1-2, today's date. I'm going to screw it up when I say it, but it's a palindrome. So,
120221.
120221. There we go. 12022021. It's in there. But yeah, so it's talking about that and all these signs popping up and people didn't know what it was. And I don't believe, as of just before this show, I was trying to find any kind of story that gave some clarification if we found out why they were doing it. Don't know yet. The speculation is that it's maybe an art project, maybe it's some viral marketing for something that's going to be announced today. So there could be probably something along that. Or, there's a group that knows something about the internet and they're able to bring it down from Seattle today. I'm guessing my bet is that that's not going to happen, but you never know. But still
You never
really
know.
weird. Yeah, and really weird
Well,
going on.
do they
with
know
all that.
something we don't know, Greg? I mean,
I don't
how
know.
far are you from Seattle? Like, would you find would like? I mean, are you close enough that if the internet goes down in Seattle, that would impact you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm 2.5 hours away, so it could be. It could spread from there. Maybe it's a slow spread with the internet going out, or maybe it's just Seattle loses the internet. That probably, I don't know what that would happen, but it did spark a whole lot of conversation between you and I and Curtis yesterday, just talking about that. Like, if the internet went down, like, how do we continue doing the loop? How do we make this show happen?
How will we do that?
Yeah,
I know.
mail it out. Mail out. I think I have a DVD burner still. We
Morse
could get
code.
a mailing list.
I know Morse code. I'm like thinking like fire. By the way, Crossix Fighter has just joined us. I just see he's saying hello today. We wanted to say a special happy birthday to you, buddy.
Happy birthday!
I know it was your birthday last week, and definitely wanted to celebrate with you. Didn't get a chance to because of Thanksgiving, but hope that you had a wonderful birthday, Crossix Fighter. Do let us know how you celebrated. But yeah, Greg, absolutely. It's so interesting because you also mentioned, I didn't know this, that there's actually one more Blockbuster left.
There is. So I was like, well, you can't stream anything then, if the internet goes down. So video rental stores would have a huge day. And there is one Blockbuster left. This is true. It's in Bend, Oregon, which is maybe 3.5 hours away from me. And it is still there. It still rents out movies. And I guess they do fairly well just because of the novelty of it, that people still go there and rent. But I can't even remember how many it was originally, like 9,000 or something like that, at one point across the world of Blockbusters. And this is the single one left. So they would be in a very good position to do well should the internet go down. I don't know if it's worth, investing in. I don't know if you can invest in Blockbuster. I can't give that advice, but see, there it is. Like the one left in Bend. It's become this huge tourist attraction. At one point, this was a couple of years ago, they had it set up. I believe it was with Airbnb, but you could stay there for a night, and they set up a theater in there, and then you can watch all the DVDs and have all the popcorn that you would possibly want.
I
tried really hard to get that. I did not get it. I didn't get to do it, but it's just nuts that there is still one, to think that that's still.
It's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. I mean, think about how much of an impact the internet has had on all of us, and the idea of it just disappearing.
Yeah,
I mean, Seattle, like, you are trying to scare a lot of us, and I'm going to tell you, it's a pretty scary thought that like, would my phone would now just be literally a phone. So that also means, Greg, that I probably can't text, right? If I don't have internet. Or
I mean, it depends on how the network works for that, but yeah, I would guess that would have an effect on that eventually, on some kind of something there. But yeah, it's just everything, especially for what you and I do. This would not be good.
This would be very scary. And Vicky's got the right idea. She says that we could put a message in the bottle and we'll send it to Vicky. And I guess I'll do the same for you, Greg. I'll put a message in the bottle, throw it out in the Pacific Ocean, and hopefully it lands somewhere near you, Greg.
I mean, eventually. Yeah.
I know how we would, that would be crazy. I mean, I don't think we could do our show, Greg, if like we didn't have internet. Unless we were to shoot our footage separately, right? And then we would somehow, I guess we could put it on regular TV still, because we
I guess you could still do that. That's true.
Traditional,
although a lot of that's going to have some internet issues too, so that would affect broadcast. But I could record my segment, burn it on DVD, send it down to you and Curtis, and then maybe he could cut it up and
a DVD. My computer didn't have DVD player.
I don't either. I think I've still got one of those old external ones that I used to burn things on. I have no idea. I'd have to go through I've got a pile of old electronics that would suddenly be more valuable.
I got a typewriter, so I'm real fancy.
Oh, see, then you're set. Yeah, you could typewrite out the show.
I could typewrite.
Yeah.
But what about the ribbon thing? That's the thing is, typewriters use ribbon. Like, how would we get, I mean, it's interesting when we were talking about this. I was thinking like, well, you and I kind of understand this, but Curtis on our team, I'm like, I don't even know Curtis was alive when they were still like CD-ROMs and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that's true. See, then he would know. We would know everything. We would be teaching people.
Oh wow, our value just increased.
Exactly.
If the internet went down. That's a little scary.
Here's how to work a printer. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We know how to use printers. I used to actually, believe it or not, I used to help produce a newspaper. And back in the day, right, I was like kind of fancy because I had my whole Mac and the laser printer. We
Yeah.
would actually cut articles and use like rubber cement. Do you remember rubber cement?
I
Rubber
do.
cement this down and it would go like and get caught. Yeah. We were fancy back then.
And then print it out off of that. That's amazing. Actually piecing it together. I kind of
Yeah.
like the
And you
idea
would
of
have
putting
to
the
put it
puzzle
on these.
together.
You had to put it on light tables so through the light you could see if you were lined up. It was
Wow.
bananas.
That is so much work
Yeah.
that would
It's
take.
so much work.
But again, that
Totally
skill
so
would
much.
be valuable again. You know, that'd be a very valuable skill to
Yeah,
have.
yeah. I feel like I like to like embrace our current value though. So
Yeah.
let's do this, Greg. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about some internet trivia.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is like we need to talk about this. I mean, if the internet's gonna end, first of all, I feel like we should celebrate because the internet has not ended. And today
Yes.
is obviously 12/02/2021. And maybe Seattle, you got it wrong. Because
Maybe.
Greg and I are here, or maybe this is all a big dream, but I feel like we're here.
Yeah, it
Vicky
seems
said
real.
she would miss us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
We would miss
appreciate
you,
the
Vicky.
comments. Thank you very much, Vicky. We would
Yeah.
miss you as well.
We miss you, but we would send a bottle with a note for sure.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would
We
just
get
be
it.
rude
We
not
get it
to.
figured out, squared away.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where Joshua CrossX Fighter is, but we need to send him a bottle too. Especially
Yes.
for his birthday. We might have to put some sprinkles in there. You know, some like glitter. Like happy birthday glitter for you for sure. All right. Let's do this. Let's do some trivia because I definitely
Yeah.
want to talk about like some because this is really interesting. And it's perfect that we're talking about that. And Patricia, awesome. She says, I'm definitely here. The fact that Patricia said that she's on Facebook Live, I trust Patricia immensely. So we are definitely here. Let's talk about this. So here's going to be some trivia. We don't expect all of you to know this, but we expect Greg to know it. When the first question is, when was the internet created? Can you believe we're talking about this? Because it feels like it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So I made it a little fun. I mean, who's going to just give you years, right? If you say years, it's not that fun. Let's kind of place this a little bit. Was it the year Godzilla was released? The year the movie was released? Or was it the year Carrie Underwood was born? Was it the year the Game Boy, Nintendo Game Boy was released? You know, I put that in there for you, CrossX Fighter. Was it the year the Ford Explorer was created? By the way, that was like a cool car back then. Or was it when Michael Jordan announced his retirement? So that will maybe help you out a little bit. So it's not just a year, right? Okay, so CrossX Fighter is saying the Game Boy because he knows that I thought of that for him. I'm going to let you guys jump in here. Patricia saying 91 became public. Before it was military government. Okay, so 91. So I think that was like Ford Explorer year, right? That was the year for
Probably somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. And CrossX Fighter says he's got to go with that because of reasons. All right, so we're waiting for, I'm really curious to see what Vicky has to say about this.
Yeah.
All right. I'm guessing, Greg, you knew this, but did you know it before I told you?
No. I actually had it wrong because I was confused about one thing. So I did some research on it. So I know the answer and I can explain why that's the answer, but I don't know if we want to give people some more time to guess.
Yes. Vicky is saying D. She's saying the year the Ford Explorer came out was the year the internet came out. That came, you know, that was sort of the same time. So
one thing I would say for Michael Jordan retiring, though, which retirement? So there's that question too. That could be
first retirement. His first retirement.
Okay, first retirement. All right.
When he first, I think, I don't know. Actually, you know, well, you're our sports guy. You know, I feel like you should sing this answer for us.
Sing the answer? I don't know. I don't know if I could come up with one for that because I'll say this. I wouldn't have got this right because I didn't know the answer to correlate with this.
Okay.
But you want me to tell it? Or
yes.
Should I say it? The answer is B, the year Carrie Underwood was born, which was 1983.
That's right.
1983. And I did some digging on that. So here's where I would have screwed up on this because there were prototypes of the internet, but more intranets that were around before that, even back into the 70s. A lot of government institutions and actually universities created their own kind of system to transport data to one another. But those systems couldn't talk to other systems that were outside because they're all uniquely built. There was no common language, if you will, for all the computers to talk to each other. So that's what happened in 1983. And I need to pull it up just to make sure that I get the terminology entirely correct, because we're so used to the acronyms now that it's easy for me to forget. And what we're talking about is the TCP slash IP system. Winnie, do you know what that stands for?
Oh, sure. No.
I would have forgotten too. Once I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that now I remember. But TCP slash IP, so that's transfer control protocol slash internet work protocol. So these were the systems that came together that allowed all these other closed off systems to talk to each other, to where you could actually have an internet that was worldwide, where if you could get on, then you could actually talk to other people and thereby start sharing information across these vast distances. So that was the year that happened. It was January 1st, 1983 was when that was turned on.
Ooh, interesting.
So yeah
Okay.
it's weird to think about, now, all the we're just so used to just opening up a browser window, and we're just on,
Right.
but that took a lot of work to get to that point. But yeah, 1983, and it wasn't necessarily available to the public, but that was where these different systems could communicate with each other.
Wow. Yeah, because I remember back in the day, like internet, computers, they were so expensive. So it really was like a very select group of people who had access to all this. But, we take that all for granted. But it was like initially computers and such were really hard to use. They weren't as intuitive as they are today. In fact, I was just uploading, you'll appreciate this. I was just uploading fonts with Curtis and my team this week, right? And it's so easy to upload fonts. Back in the day, to upload a font was like, took like a PhD in computer science.
Oh yeah, it was a pain. Yeah, run command slash, you had to do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Never want to go back there again. That's like one thing. Yeah. So so Vicky, you're right. So it's 38 years old. So the internet's 38 years old. It's crazy to think about that. And Patricia says, cool. Yeah, it's very cool. This is like really interesting stuff. All right. So it's great that we're talking about this, Greg. I'm so glad that you shared this article, because I feel like it gives us a chance to go through some really great history and to learn more about this. Let's talk about this. This is my next trivia question. Okay. Who invented the internet? All right. Was it Bill Gates? Was it Steve Jobs? Was it Charles Babbage, almost like cabbage? Was it Eckhart and Macaulay, I'm hoping? Or was it Sir Tim Berners-Lee? By the way, that's a very, very nice Harry Potter name, I think.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are our different options. And I know, Greg, I'm really interested to hear your answer on this, but let's give everybody a chance to answer this question. Yeah. I love to see, who do you think invented the internet? Now, don't go to Google, because that wouldn't be fun. Just pretend, like, who do you think did this? Now,
and I want to clarify one thing to maybe help people. So we're talking about the World Wide Web side of the internet, which is where everybody can get on.
Okay. That makes sense.
I know for super nerds that may be a difference. But yeah, just in case.
Yeah. Cool. So, and that's great, because, this is not my specialty. So I'm so glad, Greg, that you're leading this discussion. But, CrossX Fighter is saying A, Bill Gates, B, Vicky is saying B, which is Steve Jobs. And I do know, obviously the founder of Apple. CrossX Fighter says, I only know one of them, but not the rest. Okay, so I guess CrossX Fighter must know Bill Gates, who we know is the founder of Microsoft. But I will say this, I'm going to tell you this. I think this is one of those questions where if you took a guess, most everybody here has something to do with technology and the internet era. So I feel like everybody's a winner in here, but there's actually just one official answer. And Greg, do you want to take it? Because I know this is like definitely your world.
Yeah. So the answer is E, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, which is an amazing name. He also goes by the name Tim BL. There's an abbreviation that people use for him. But yeah, so a little explanation on that. So he was a guy, and let me pull it up here just to make sure that I get this right myself, because there's a lot of information. So he was a professorial fellow of computer science at the University of Oxford. And he proposed in 1989 this idea of creating a way, again, for everybody to be able to communicate more so than what it was before. So where you could have a personal computer and get into this as well, which is called the hypertext transfer protocol. And so what he did was he invented that, and he created that, and that was in 1991, when that actually, August 6th, 1991. And that's when the first web page went live. This is the very first web page ever for the World Wide Web was in 1991. So that's when it went up, which is really kind of fun to think about. And just you can go back and actually look at them too and see what was on back then. But yeah, that's who it was, Tim Berners-Lee.
Very cool. I'm curious to see, you know, how many people actually saw that page when it first came out, but that's fascinating. Yeah. All right. So, good. I love this. All right. Now we're going to go to an internet Winnie question. You guys will appreciate this. And this is the next question. And this is, how much money do people spend on the internet every 60 seconds? And this is as of year 2020. All right. Ooh. So to give you an idea, this was this last year. Per every 60 seconds, my friends, how much do people spend on the internet? All right. So is it $10 million? Is it $3,764.18? Is it $801,692? Or is it $1 million per 60 seconds? I know, CrossXFire, you like it, huh? I know. We've got a pretty strong gift game there. Gift game, GIF game, however you say it.
Oh yeah, that's a whole controversy right there.
That's how we roll. Yes. I love it. Okay.
I actually don't know the answer to this either.
You don't know this? Good. I'm glad you don't know this.
Yeah, I don't know. And this is a hard one because I'm looking at some of these numbers. So some of them are so specific, like 801,692. That seems like that'd be a highly calculated number. But then again, that seems, if it's all over, I'm assuming this is all of the internet every 60 seconds.
Is this like is this like one of those questions when you're like taking the SAT and they say, if you don't know the answer, you pick B or C. No kidding.
Yeah, right. And just hedge my bets there.
I know. Okay, so CrossXFire is saying B, which is less than $4,000, right? So it's about $3,764.18. That's what CrossXFire is saying. Vicky is saying $10 million because she likes awesome powers. Any other takers? All right, I know this was kind of a hard one, so I'll give you the answer. All right, the answer is D. $1 million every 60 seconds. $1 million. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Like, just like think about how many 60 seconds are in our show, Greg. We're like living through a lot of money just talking right now.
Yeah, right. It's all being spent on there. So $1 million a minute is
$1 million a minute. That's a lot.
I bet it does it like go up. I'm assuming around like Black Friday or something like that.
I'm sure it does. You're right. Yeah. And actually, what's really interesting, Greg, I looked at the numbers like 2019 to 20. Wow, it was a pretty significant jump. So it's just like people are just spending more and more, per minute. So let's go to this one. I think this one you'll really like. I know, Patricia, it is amazing. All right, let's see the next. This is our last question. And this is, how many people are on the internet today? I thought we would have a little bit of fun on this.
I like these answers.
Way more than a lot. Too many. Surprise me. Okay, Vicky, give us the answer. What's your answer on this? Patricia, no, like I have a feeling you guys can answer this one. Tell me what you think about this one.
Yeah, I think there's some opinion that could be in there too.
Yeah. How many people? I'm going to give you a 2020 number because I think it's really interesting. Vicky's saying too many. Everyone's saying too many. Yeah. Patricia's saying a lot.
A lot. I'm going to say B, way more than a lot.
Way more than a lot. I would say B is way more than a lot. That's my answers too. Okay, well, here's the deal. Okay, so absolutely. So many people. In fact, there's 4.5 billion internet users as of 2020. 4.5 with a big B. And it's actually just expected to increase over the years. But what's really interesting, I thought we'd talk about this a little bit because, talking about inequalities, right? And there's certain places where there's still no access to the internet. In fact, there's 30 million households across the country right now that don't have access to the internet. And so this is sort of my financial addition to this. Well, recently, as you know, the $65 billion federal investment here in the United States is going to be part of that infrastructure bill that was just passed this month. And that's going to mean 65 billion big ones are going to go to investing in broadband here to get more people, especially those in rural U.S. communities, to be able to give them access to high-speed, affordable internet.
Yeah.
Because installing the infrastructure for sort of a lot of internet companies wasn't a great investment for them. So there's communities where literally internet was super slow, or they didn't have access to internet. And they said, some of these companies said, well, the cost was so great that it didn't make sense for them to build it out for such a small return. So this new federal funding for broadband is looking to fix that. So what they're going to do is they're going to target 3 areas: the cost of building the structure, user fees charged to households. We're going to try to keep that reasonable, and also and making sure that the money is spent so that people are familiar with how to use this technology. So the U.S. government, Biden administration, is going to give $100 million to disperse over the next 5 years to grants to local communities. And so each state is going to get, I believe it was $100 million per state that they'll be able to use. So I think this is really good. I feel like that's going to help a lot, because one thing that I was doing some research on, because, was just how much do you get paid? I mean, obviously a lot of jobs are dependent on internet. And so not only can people not get news and information as readily if you don't have internet, but then I guess it was IoT job market, which I think that IoT job market, they said that even that market's worth like $761 billion in 2020. So, and she's going to reach like almost 1.4 trillion in 2026. So without internet, you can't get good at internet skills to be able, get jobs in that area. So it's really interesting, because the United Nations actually reported outside the United States, even in the entire world, believe it or not, 1 in 3 people actually, I shouldn't say 1 in 3 people in the world has never used the internet before.
Wow, that's an amazing statistic. I didn't know is that have never used it.
Have never used it, not even used it once. 96% of them obviously live in developing nations, right? But even though with that, 4.9 billion people are internet users, and yet 1 in 3 people has never even used internet. And as we know, it's so helpful, right? In fact, the Pew Research Center, they just reported a poll saying that, this year, or actually I should say since the pandemic, 90% of Americans said the internet has been helpful to learn more about the pandemic. And 81% of Americans said that 81% said that they actually use video conferencing or technology to talk to someone else since the pandemic began in February of 2020. So overwhelming majority of Americans have used it, find it helpful, and yet in the rest of the world, there's still so many people, not only in the United States, but outside of the United States, that literally don't have access, or haven't even tried it, or don't have access readily. So it's really interesting. But I do have one more thing before I'm going to hand this over to Greg. And that is, which I was kind of excited to hear about this, is that SpaceX is with their I guess online system Starlink. I'll have Greg explain more of this. Though Starlink is saying they're going to be starting testing their internet service for airplanes. So for those of you who've ever been on a plane, Greg and I have traveled a lot for business. One of the most frustrating things is that you don't have good internet on the plane. So that actually might change very soon, because they're saying that they're in deep discussions with multiple airlines.
Yeah, I mean, Starlink, mentioning, just especially access to the internet, because I will say this, my parents live in the country in rural Oregon, they're just kind of out there in the country, and they actually don't have access to high speed internet. They still have to use the old satellite system. It's the only option, because they never ran cables that far out, because like you said, it didn't, the companies just didn't do it, and they still haven't. So they're beholden to whatever the speeds are that the current satellite system, like Dish or something like that they've got that give them. They can't stream movies. It's not fast enough for that, and you have a limited amount of data. So it really is an issue for a lot of people, and also just access to education for not just streaming movies, but especially think about the pandemic and how many kids, if they were out there, they wouldn't have access to these online classes very easily. So that's another important thing. Yeah, Starlink is one of the companies that could be doing something about that. So if anybody doesn't know, Starlink is a kind of a spin-off of SpaceX, and they've been doing this for a while now. A lot of those SpaceX rocket launches are putting Starlink internet satellites up around the globe. The goal, I think, is about 13,000 of them to start with, but they have approval for up to like 30,000. So it's a lot. And it's to create essentially a mesh network of high-speed internet around the globe. And right now they've been doing tests here in, I believe it's the northern US and Canada is kind of the first area they're targeting. And some people have one of the Starlink boxes already. So there's an example of it right there. Those things, I believe right now they cost $500 if you can get one. $500, so that's the initial cost. But then they want to keep the actual cost of internet down to about what you would normally pay. And they've seen some pretty great speeds. The more that you get of these up there, the higher speeds you can get, but you would be able to access it anywhere because it's a satellite. So it really could help out a lot of people. There's other companies that are working on it too, but Starlink is way far ahead of everybody else that's setting up their own satellites. So it's a really interesting solution.
So I think that's an opportunity for Starlink and the federal government to come together and like help more people have access to internet, because this digital divide is a big issue.
Huge.
Because it's so much bigger than just having internet that you can watch YouTube on, right? And watch our show on, hopefully. But it's like, it's for society, it's for economic reasons, it's for education, so it helps everybody because information is education, right? And so they're saying that this is definitely something. I thought it was really eye-opening that in 2021 there are still so many people on Earth that have never used the internet and don't have reliable internet. So I'm glad we're having this talk. I'm glad that Seattle article stemmed our discussion.
Maybe Seattle right now. I don't know. So
absolutely. So tell us, Greg, what else do we need to know about our internet day?
Well, I found a couple more things just to talk about, and then I've got my robot conversation coming up here in a minute too. But another thing that I wanted to look into, because I was thinking about social media, like we're broadcasting on a whole bunch of social media platforms right now. But what was the first social media platform? And I feel like a lot of people will probably go to MySpace, which is not correct. MySpace was the first one that got huge. AOL, you could kind of count as that, but it was more chat, less of a social media site like what we're used to. There was Friendster, which was around for a little bit. Right. Yeah, but the first one, what's generally considered to be the first one is something called 6 Degrees, which is based off the 6 degrees of separation that everybody's 6 degrees away from knowing somebody. And so this website, it went live. It was on 1997 to 2000. I'm going to talk about where I got this picture to you, but that's minus the images that didn't show up, but that's what it looked like originally. And you could set up groups, and then you would use your contacts and you would enter them in, and then it would send out an email to everybody saying, hey, join me on 6 Degrees. So you could develop these kind of friend groups. Which, so that was the idea of a web of contacts, I guess is the name of that in the nomenclature. But that was one of the first ones. So 6 Degrees, 1997 to 2000. It's now back. I actually went to the website. They have some kind of newer version of it, but it still looks very old school. But that was the original one right there. So that I thought was kind of cool just to see what the beginnings of that were, and how it all kind of expanded from there to Facebook and everything else that we have now.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And you know what's really interesting, Greg? You see how the image don't show. I feel like back then you were just accustomed to that. Like you'd always see things not popping up. And then when you print, nothing would show up. It was just like,
and it would take forever to load.
It would take forever. and like everybody used like one font because that was just that.
Yeah. And if anybody's, there's what it looks like now. So I didn't explore too much about what the company is now.
They're still there?
They're still there in some way. Before them, they shut down, and then somebody else, I think, bought them. So I don't know exactly what's happening with that site now.
We got to have them on the show. We're going to have to reach out.
Talk to 6 Degrees, right?
Yeah, 6 Degrees, reach out to us. We're going to have you on the show.
Yeah. Well, and there's one thing, too, that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention in case you didn't know about it that I find really interesting because I like history, but also like seeing what sites were like and what it looked like back in the day. And there's an organization that actually does that. So they've captured over the last, I think it's 25 years, images from websites going way, way back to the beginning of it, which is why it's called the way, way back machine. So it's like a time machine for the internet. And it's at web.archive.org. It's a nonprofit. And what they've dedicated their time to is doing that. They capture sites. There's billions of still image captures of websites from all throughout these last couple of decades. So you can type in a search term, you can type in a website.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting just to see what was around back then. You know,
I gotta check that out. I wonder if they have the of my old webpage. So I used to have a web page called tvaudiences.com because I used to fill audiences for television shows.
They might.
I wonder have if a capture of it because that would be really fun.
Yeah,
Curtis, check it out. Let's put it in and see if you can find it.
See what pops up.
tvaudiences.com.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it might have something on there. TV audience. Is that it right there?
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know.
No,
it's possible.
It was cool back then because my sister was a developer for like Google and whatnot. And she was like she's kind of like a coding queen back then. I had her help me build out my first website, and it was kind of cool. Like we were kind of cool.
Yeah, that was definitely ahead of its time. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, they're way back machines. So everybody check that out if you want to take a look at some internet history, and hopefully they continue on after today and the internet doesn't go down. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, it looks like we're so lucky so far, Greg.
Yeah.
The internet's still going.
So far, so good.
Oh, good.
All right. So the other things I wanted to talk about were just a couple of tech stories that came out over this last week that I thought were interesting and would warrant conversation. And the first one does have to do with a robot and potentially you, anybody watching right now. So it's from a company called Promobot. Now, Promobot.ai, they've been around for a while, known for creating these very odd, like human-like robotic assistants.
That's like me and you.
Yeah, exactly like us. So, but they
so we have better hair, I think.
Yeah, I think we're better off in that aspect. Like they create these things, and they've got this look. I mean, they do look human-like, but they've got that uncanny valley feeling, which is where something is close to looking like a human, but it's off enough that it just kind of can creep you out a little bit. So that's what they've got so far, and they've been showing all these different iterations of this over the last couple of years. They made an Arnold Schwarzenegger robot at one point, or a Terminator robot version. Whoa. But now what they've come out and said, this is from a press release, is that they have an American company, they didn't name the company, that has put in a large order purchase for these things that are supposed to go out in the year 2023. They're going to go out to like shopping centers and airports and be used for all kinds of things. Who knows what all? It's going to be throughout the U.S. and I guess the Middle East to start with. And they've ordered thousands.
I think dishwashing is a great idea. I vote for these people to do these robots to wash our dishes.
See, that would be great. These ones, like from what they said, would be more targeted for like customer service, or like you go to the airport and it directs you where you want to go or something like that, I guess. But the key is they want to figure out how they can create the same face for every single one of these. And this is what they've offered. So anybody 25 or older can now apply to have your likeness to be used for this future humanoid robotic assistant. And it would be that person's face on all of them. So
what?
So they
what
said,
in the world are you talking
about? Right? So in order to do it, so somebody will get $200,000 for it. That's what they're offering. You have to sign away the rights to your image likeness forever. They will have the rights forever, and they'll do all these 3D scans to get it just right. You also have to do, I think it's like 100 hours of voiceover. So it's going to be your voice also for these robotic assistants. Again, you don't know what all they're going to be used for. Who knows? So you do that. And then they said the only other thing that they require is the face has to be likable and friendly looking. So that's what they said as part of their qualifications. So this is now they're accepting these applications. So if anybody out there is interested in being the face of the future robot assistants that may or may not show up everywhere, you can apply.
So they're not going to all be different? They're all going to look the same?
Apparently, they're all going to be the same. They want a unified look for all of these things.
That is why is it so difficult to make them look different? That's a little spooky. Like, this kind of reminds me of, when you go to Disneyland and you go to like Pirates of the Caribbean and you see all the like those, like they're petting their dog and they're like the pirates. That kind of this is rather disturbing. But
Yeah.
really, you know what's going to be really interesting, Greg? Because you're going to have like one person like basically photocopied a gajillion times.
Mhm.
Like I feel like that could be controversial because like then you're lacking diversity, gender diversity, background. I mean, I'm sure
you're
that's
right.
going to
Yeah.
change, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
and this company, it's sometimes it's hard to tell how serious they are. There's a little bit of mystery to them because they
mhm.
claim they were founded in the US, but they're a Russian company, but then they claim they're in Northern Europe. So it's a little bit strange, some of the things that they do, but they have been making these for a while. And this is what they're saying is that they've got, this
Yeah, I'm not good
future
with
order.
this. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sign up for this, and I don't know. I'm sure somebody will take the $200,000 and have people
Yeah.
make photocopies of you. I don't know. That'd be really, really. I mean, think about your privacy from
Yeah.
that day on is gone. So basically, someone's bought your privacy for 200,000 because
Exactly.
everywhere you go, people are gonna say like, "You look like the robot," not that the
Yeah.
robot was made after you.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
man,
yeah.
that's what
I
a
mean, and
mess.
what happens if these robots rebel too? Then you're the face of the robot revolution. I mean, it's something else to think about.
Oh my goodness, Greg. Now, like that,
Then you'd
that's
have
really
to, tell
disturbing.
everybody like it wasn't like I'm the real person. I'm not the robot, and then there's all this controversy. Everybody's going to think you're a robot. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot to think about for
All right, let me ask
$200,000.
you this. Well, let's do this. We have our friends here with us at the show. Let's just ask them. Okay, if who do you think the robots should be made to look like? If they had to pick 600 copies of one person out
Mhm.
there in the world, who would you pick? Like of all the people, maybe celebrities, maybe
Yeah.
scientists. Who would you roll for? Who would you think? Like Greg has said, they have to be sort of friendly looking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But apparently, yeah, that's the
who would you want to see 600 copies of? I don't even know that I even could. I don't know who I would want to see 600 copies of. Like,
I don't know either. Yeah. I mean, to have that many of them out there, I'm not
I
sure who would
mean,
be
yeah,
a
like I love
unifying
my
person.
kids. I love my kids to pieces, but I wouldn't even want 600 copies of any of them because that would just be too freaky.
It would be. And this is something else actually. It just came out today, and it's a video of another kind of
I
humanoid
saw you
robot.
tweet this and you said
Yeah.
no, no, no. And
I
I
said
was
no,
like,
no,
yes,
no.
you're so right. I was going to
Yeah.
reply, didn't have a chance yet. But Greg, I 100% with you on this.
Yeah. Yeah. This is pretty crazy. They have it discovering its hands, and it looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. And then it's going to decide that humans are irrelevant or they're a danger to themselves. And that's just how I assume that sci-fi movie would happen. And yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool and stuff, but I think, I think if we could, if this can somehow help people in certain ways,
Yes.
like I'll say, like I would love to see sort of this technology be able to help with our elders, right? To
Yeah.
have more independence as they get older, right?
Definitely.
And certainly maybe other areas where it's harder to hire people, trustworthy people, and you
Yeah.
need that sort of level of security. I
Yeah.
can see, I don't know.
There's
Crossfire Spider
definitely
says, I'm
useful
just guessing.
cases.
Yeah,
It's
there's got to be useful cases and I think we need to decide as society to limit their capability, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't, like, how Greg, you talk about these movies, these like robots that learn. I think there needs to be a stop point of what they can do. We don't want them to go like,
that,
recreate.
and we need limitations on artificial
Yes.
intelligence. Yeah. Like in laws of robotics, I think number one is don't harm humans. But yeah, there's a lot to think about. I mean, and these things are being developed, and combine that with AI, it's really happening. I'm just going to the doomsday sci-fi situations because that's what they kind of look like. I don't know if they necessarily need to look this way. You can still be a helpful robot without looking like it,
But then my question is this. But Greg, they look spooky. But then why does the other company need to copy a human when this place obviously made their own? Like, why copy a human? Why don't just like make one so it doesn't look like
I don't know. Yeah, they're saying they want to license this image for some reason. But yeah, that's where they're going with it. So those were kind of the robotics stories that were out today. Like giving some thoughts about those and just what's going on. This company Promobot, they do always come up with some interesting things, whether it's great or not. We at some point we can do an entire show about just these robotics, these lifelike robotics, because you have in China and in Russia, I know for sure they've tried this out where they have robotic news announcers that they just feed the news to them, and then it's a robot giving the news, but it looks like an actual journalist or reporter, and they're testing that out in places. So we'll have to see where this all goes. It's pretty crazy.
Does that mean that like on days where I can't join you, Greg, then you'll just have a robot replace me on those days? Because I feel
Robo
like
Winnie, yeah,
that could happen,
or the
right?
Winnie bot. I like the Winnie bot. Yeah, yeah. Who knows? I mean, it might give us some more vacation, I guess. If we could.
Oh goodness, I
Yeah,
know. But
yeah,
then like, okay, so what I always learned in the financial world is this: more headache or more headache, more income, right?
yeah,
More stress, more income. So if we have no stress and we're like hanging out at the beach and stuff, I mean, there goes like, we'll be on welfare. The robots be making all the money.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That might not be good. Vicky's laughing, right? Yeah, Vicky's laughing. And Cross-X Fighter, I think he's as confused as I am, right? Yeah, 600 copies of a cartoon character. Okay, see, Cross-X Fighter, now we're getting somewhere. Because couldn't you get somebody from like, Animal Crossing, recreate one of those like cute little people and then
yeah,
call
I
it a
suppose
day?
you could. Yeah, if that would probably be more, I think, accepted than
Yes.
the human looking one.
Yeah, make him
To
cute
some
looking,
extent.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
little bit of cartoony might be good.
might be good. So something
Mhm.
for all of them to think about. But
Yes.
that's what we're looking at there with all of that. So
And
pretty cool
Sadiq is
stuff.
here. Sadiq is here. So great to have you, Sadiq. Sadiq is saying there's a Russian company project that copies the Human Aviator 2045 initiative. Sounds spooky.
Human, yeah, I will definitely take a look at that. Yeah,
Greg is
there's a lot of
Greg-
companies working on some really interesting ones. So
I
at
don't
some point
know.
we should do a whole show just on robotics because
We
there's
are
some,
going to.
yeah,
There's got to be a day where, people
yeah,
suspect that robots are going to take over. We're going to have to do that. We're going to do a whole episode on robots. Thank you, Sadiq,
yeah,
for that
love it, love it.
idea,
So
inspiration.
that will definitely be coming up. I did have one final thing, and this came out today, and unfortunately it's all sold out right now if you want one, but Tesla tends to come out every now and then with just some random side product that they create. And this is one that they came out with today, and it's for kids. It's the Tesla Cyber Quad. And it's
You
supposed to
didn't tell
be,
me this, Greg. Oh my God.
I know, right? It's supposed to be a companion to the Cybertruck whenever that does come out. But this is what they've got. So it's for kids, electric powered. It's pretty cool, actually. I kind of think it's pretty cool. They have a top speed of 10 miles an hour. The battery will last up to a 15-mile range. But yeah, this is what
My kids would have loved that.
some amount of
What
lucky
up?
kids are going to get that. They're $1,900.
Oh,
But yeah, yeah, there you go. I mean, clearly adults can ride them too, as you see there.
now it's gonna be on eBay for like
Yeah,
$200,000.
yeah. I think Curtis and I both want to get one. So if that were to happen, we could film some pretty cool stuff, do some jumps with them.
Okay, well, if anyone's at Tesla, and
Yeah.
just know that Greg didn't tell me about it, so please send me a special link so I can place an order,
Yes.
and that way we can properly test it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It looks fun. So
It looks so fun. It's so fun. And by the way, I got to mention this, on the topic of fun news, because I got to share this with you. Just so you know, for those of you here in the United States, I'm not sure, Vicky, if this is going to be in the UK as well, but do know that Burger King is celebrating its anniversary. So for limited time, tomorrow and Saturday, I saw online that they're going to be selling their Whopper for 37 cents. Yeah.
wow,
So
that's a good deal.
I know, I gotta tell you the good deals, because that's what we do, right? Technology and good deals.
Technology and good deals. I mean, what more do you want? That's
Exactly. That's
exactly
what makes the
what I
world
need.
go round and round.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
it is, right there.
Yeah,
For
old
everybody to
school.
know.
I mean, I remember having a Whopper. I remember thinking they're really good. I like the way they like sort of cook that burger, but
Yeah,
haven't had one in a long time. Might do it for 37 cents.
yeah,
You know?
exactly. Well,
I
somebody's
feel like you go through a drive-through. I feel like this is what you need to do. I feel like this is what I want to do. Go through a drive-through, right? And be like, okay, I'll buy like, I don't know, like 100 of these, right? Everybody behind me, give them free Whoppers.
I want to be in the drive through behind you. Yeah. So that so everybody
That'd be so
find
fun.
Winnie.
Yeah.
Burger.
You know what? That'd be really fun. Yeah. So this is the original. Yeah, Cross-X Fire is this original burger. I guess that is the original Burger King logo. I didn't even know.
Yeah, must be.
All right. So Sadiq Sadiq, you got to hook it up, okay? Because obviously Greg didn't tell us about this super cool Tesla theme.
Oh, yeah, the
I
whistle.
would have picked it up. But now there's a Tesla whistle. Okay,
Yeah,
Sadiq,
there was a whistle
when you
that came
find
out
out,
too.
tag Greg and I so we know.
Yeah.
And
Please
maybe
do.
I'll make the investment. That way we can test it on the air.
That would be great. Yeah.
I would have done it
absolutely.
for this thingamajigger that,
It came out and it was like sold out immediately. The other
But I
one.
didn't even know it was coming. Did you know it was coming?
No.
Okay. All right.
No,
then.
they've done that
You're
with like a flamethrower before, all kinds of weird stuff.
I know. I saw that flamethrower. That thing's
Yeah.
like, I don't know that I want that thing, but this bike thingy, this would be cool. By the way, who knows when that Cybertruck is going to be? I mean, they've held my deposit for some time now.
Yeah, I've got $100 deposit in.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would ever really get the car, but I mean, I'm curious to see when that money will,
Yeah, when that finally comes out. They keep pushing that back all the time. But
I feel like
someday
I feel like Elon is just like he's just like keeping all his deposits in the bank of Elon. So I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to find
issue.
out. But somebody's going to be riding around on that. So there we go. But yeah, like you said, everybody tag us, and if you see something really interesting or cool, and you think we should be aware of it. Sadiq, I appreciate he does all the time tagging me in things, and because there's so much going on out there, it's hard to keep up with everything. So
it's hard to keep up.
Much appreciated, especially cool stuff like that.
And if you get a burger, I guess if you get a burger in the next couple of days, take a picture of it with you or something and tag us on it too, and tag us and hashtag in the loop. We would love to see, you do that because
people are taking advantage of your savings ideas.
There you go. Right. We want to see you enjoy it. But tag us on In the Loop. We would love to see y'all. And it's so much fun, Greg. It's so much fun. I'm so glad that we're back in full swing on this show. But
absolutely
looking forward to next week.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you to everybody who's joining us, who's a part of this show every week. We just appreciate each and every one of you, hitting subscribe and sharing and the comments, even whether you're watching live or watching afterward. Just thank you very much. It's always so much fun. We've got a lot of great show ideas, a robotics one that's going to be coming up, a lot of things, but always send us whatever your ideas too. You can tag us or direct message or however you want to get a hold of us for anywhere. So thanks a lot to everybody. And thanks to you, Winnie. This is always so much fun.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much, Greg. Yeah, share the show with someone that you care about. And, I think this is a really fun show. I'm actually going to share it with my kids so they can learn the history of the internet. So share it wide as much as you can before Seattle's internet going down.
Yeah, got a few hours left before the day's over. I don't know. We'll have to see. But best of luck, Seattle, and thank you to everybody joining in.
Thank you, everybody.
And, we'll be back next week.
Next Thursday. See you guys. Take care.